Office of Future Studies something like 7 years ago. This is the UBS Bank in Zurich, which was giving the shareholders a prognosis in 2016, and they said that the artificial superintelligence, that comes in 2050. But it is here already. In basically, the artificial intelligence can solve several tasks better than human being. So actually, it is already here, and this acceleration is highly stunning. And what internet providers propose is a direct sales, and the direct sales, of course, is that there are no middlemen. So it is the Instagram, Facebook, and other digital platforms from where you can sell your products. And one of the products I was looking and I was interested in was books. And it appears to be that you don't even need to write the book to sell it. There are actually several software. Here is one sneaky one that is good for the students. Undetectable AI writer. And then you can create, refine, disguise, and even cite the material. But it gets better. So the AI book, you can use the generator. And the ebook generator, you just need to design and decide the names of the chapters. It will write everything for you, format it into an ebook, and you can start selling it. And here were some of the examples which we don't need to go into. So what happens is that the book industry has gone away from professionals. Maybe it is very good, maybe it isn't so good, but looking at the images that the books, I just took a random picture from the website, what people have been published, looks very grim. It is unprofessional designing, because you can do it yourself. You don't need to go to the graphic designer or the layout designer or anywhere. And then I started to look, wait, it's not by a man from the streets. It's the Penguin Publishing House that has at least published 4 of these books. So it is also the professionals that go into a lower quality, lower level of design and lower level of professional products. And it is easy, you just publish your book and it is there. All right, in architecture it's a little bit more complicated because there is a project, it has to be approved, and there is the budgeting and very soon printing. But it's only a matter of politics where this approval will come. So basically any of the business, including interior design already now, but also the protected professions like architecture and to a certain extent planning, can be used by everyone. So it is the power protection and the value decision making that have been taken away from the professional field. And it seems that it is the quantifiable expertise that is enhanced. It is the fragmentation of the profession that we were discussing previously. That is enhanced because it can be given in the discrete format, and the qualitative expertise is diminished, and very soon it will be missing altogether with the digital products. So our workshop in a way tries to build this baseline of these languages of 2024 and investigate the qualitative design artifacts and languages. Right, the theory development. And I will probably stop here, otherwise it would be too long, and I'll do it sometime in the future, the second part of it. But before I wrap it up, I still want to go into the imagosphere and slightly show what the image generation really deals with. And when I'm talking about the imagosphere and the images that surround us, I'm talking about the visible ones. There are, of course, several possibilities of imagination, and in Estonian language, kujutlus ja kujutis can be non-visible things as well. These are, in a way, left aside. And I've divided, according to the medieval historical philosophical way, I've divided the meaning generation here on the nominalist and realist types or trends or directions. Nominalist meaning then believes that the words or images and signs really do not have any meaning, and the meaning is created in the viewer. But we gradually see within the development of digital imaging that to us a lot of images come that we don't know what they mean, but certainly they influence us. And this potential meaning that is open to billions of people when it is opened up in the digital networks really becomes a latent meaning. And the best example here is the Charlie Hebdo case, where an image produced a violent attack on the satirical journal and 12 people lost their lives. It was not because the meaning context was easily translatable, but it was because of this latent meaning that was there for that particular group of people. So this becomes another direction in the images. It is the realist or realistic meaning, which means that it is actually attached to that particular image, us not really knowing about it. And then on top of the realist image that is enhanced by the digital networks, there is of course something that we all know. It is the design and composition deal with the structural layers of particular images, and they are difficult for the non-professional eye to deal with. And when I was looking at the political events and the digital fakes images, fake images, and then also the manipulation by the internet trolls, mostly in Moscow, it was the case that very often two different types of meaning systems were implemented in the image that then produced a kind of meaning explosion. The more controversial and the more contradictory meanings can be pressed into invisibly in realistic direction into the image, the more powerful it actually becomes. And these tools are really the ones that we work with. And then I tried to make some kind of sense in this digital visual poetic image. I tried to analyze it or cut it into the pieces, as Andres was saying a couple of quarters of hours before, which is the easiest way in a way to make sense in things, but also to govern them, to have power about it. And it can be divided into three areas. It is the consciousness, it is our conscious, we know the information, we know what we see, we are part of that culture. Then it is already a slightly more hidden imagination which past and future of the images are only accessible to professionals who have been dealing with it, but also the narrative and especially space then. And then it is also the unconscious background of the images that can be used for producing these meanings. And then of course the most existential one is, I call, deep existential intuition, and many of us have this feeling. We don't know what it is, but we know it's extremely dangerous and one should get away from it. Just as an example how this typology of meaning building or meaning continuum in visual images could work. Here is, for instance, one described as consciousness and seeing. We really don't understand things we can't see. And this image here in the bad projection is really difficult to understand what it is about until we see it in clear light. It is the cupola and it is the lantern there. When we've seen it, we can give meanings to it. But there is another hidden layer, which I would call imagination of past and future. And everybody who looks at the image, yeah, we can see there is a swastika on back of it. You can't read, but there is a Hindenburg written to it. And those who have the knowledge of the Hindenburg Zeppelin, they of course already can in a way position the picture that it was done before. It was done before that year. It was then ready and it was then demolished and it is gone now. So this whole past and future background of the images is unconsciously or imaginatively built into the images. And then of course is the space or unconsciousness in spatio-temporal continuum, which Jan van Eyck is a really good example, because on the spherical mirror on the back of the image, we can actually see the moment when we are the witnesses of the marriage, when Arnolfini family painter Jan van Eyck was witnessing it, and the imaginary witnesses were also standing there. So it incorporates into the image something that is most certainly there, not there, and outside of time and space of that particular image. So these are the build-ups, of course, Freudian sexual and existential images, but then also the archetypal, Jungian archetypal unconsciousness. All of these layers of the images actually have not been opened up for the image modeling AI, but it is just a matter of time of it. Another example of our particular profession, here is Andrew. Andrew is having a beer, and we can actually find out how Andrew got into that picture. It was the reality. I was there with him. I made the arbitrary image, not having any idea about it. And then gradually this image in a way operates for you here. But it has certain different layers than mine. I have the memory and I have the meaning of it, which you do not have. But it is also the case that in the hidden structure of how the perspective is built, which I would like to call a shadow over perspective, we actually see how the language meaning is created through the language, grammar, and syntax. So it is brought into lower levels of composition, and that artificial intelligence can do perfectly well. And of course, cropping or focusing, we actually can have two different types of meanings attached to it when we start to manipulate the image. And just to finish up, it is the image that I've shown many times, so might be already quite boring for some of you, but I would now like to take the image, the meaning continuum in images into the textual and language level. And this is the Father Nilus, or Father Nile, in Rome. He's in a flowing position that has been explained by the word fluo, or how the river flows, and it is holding in his hand cornucopia, the horn of plenty. And the image I used because firstly it was very clear that it has several connotations in current technical development, but then gradually going into it, on the right hand side we can see Demeter and Plutus or Hades, depending on the interpretation, with a horn of plenty that can print anything there. Then in the several of the images, the same type of composition, the same elements and the same names or different names of rivers have have been used. So they create a kind of family or a population of meanings. But then when we look even deeper and take this cornucopia, which is another layer of stem words, which I'm not going into it now, but if we take the fluo, we actually can see how the Proto-Indo-European stem words really produce. Is it too small to see? I have to read them then. Just a second, I'll do that. So the first stem bell, the second stem bell, and the third stem bell. It is the blindfold, flame, white, dazzling, blow, swell, bollocks, bull, full, phallus, bulge, flush, fluent, fume, fluvial, flux, bloom, flourish, flora, floral, and flowers. So if we go layer by layer deeper into the image, we actually can see that there are these realist meanings still going very deep, and this is where the language comes into the system. And going another level lower, we can see that the fluo comes from Sanskrit rain. So it is not just flowing, but it is raining. It's like the heaven is urinating, out of which comes Uranus, the rainmaker. And it flows and it rains. And Uranus and Gaia, Kronos and Rhea, Zeus and Demeter are the genealogy of the gods. But Gaia, Rhea and Demeter are actually the same as the Mother Earth in different formats. So like in different generations. So deepening into etymology and archaic archetypes, we then open up the realist meanings. And this is what I think will happen with AI in the near future when it goes as deep as that. And I stop here, and the Lotman semiosphere I leave for a moment aside. I just say that the theoretical constraints of this type of investigation are given by Kuhn and Foucault. And both of them say that we are reading too much meanings into the worlds that we have constructed ourselves. In this case, I have been interpreting these images in this particular way, and it's not the images, but it's me who needs to be blamed. But nevertheless, I think the more we know about the world and the more artificial intelligence in a way is mining out of these meanings, the more powerful the images get. And my only consolation is that all the architectural history and the urban history I've been reading so far is going to be changed in next 5 years, when artificial intelligence can read all the texts in all the languages, in all the archives of the world. And then we will have a totally new paradigm coming. Thank you for listening.